The commencement address will now be delivered by the Honorable Bridget Mary McCormack, for the last 20 seconds or so, Doctor of Laws at our college. Justice Dr. McCormack.
Thank you very much, Professor Kirkpatrick, for that kind citation, and more importantly, for being a profound influence for me 29 years ago. My first class with you is still one of my clearest memories about Trinity, where I learned curiosity, confidence, and purpose. President Jones, trustees, faculty, thank you for the honor of being part of today's ceremony. It is quite a privilege to be recognized with the other distinguished honorees today. And thank you, graduates of the class of 2013, and to your families for the opportunity to address you today. It is truly a privilege. If you're ever invited to give a commencement address and you're a bit nervous about doing it, let me warn you that going online to read the best graduation speeches in history isn't likely to make you more confident. That research will teach you only one thing, that you should have invited Stephen Colbert. I was also a bit confounded by most of the graduation cliches. Not opposed to them exactly, although some seem like simply bad advice. Take risks seems like a silly thing to say to most people your age and in your shoes. You're not pirates. But most of the themes I read simply don't seem very concrete. Follow your dreams, reach for the stars, your future starts now, conquer life's obstacles, you are the future. Follow your heart, stay true to yourself, blaze your own path, meet your challenges head on, life rewards hard work, swing for the fences. Today is the first day for the rest of your life. It's a tough gig, this. Graduates, my first message is actually for your families, in particular your parents. I want to briefly point out my own dad over there in the front row and my oldest son, Jack. My dad drove up here from North Carolina for this occasion, and as you heard, he put all three of his children through this fantastic institution and is grateful for the start it gave all of us in our lives. Parents of the class of 2013, congratulations. I know you are proud, and today you should be very proud. What a great day this is. Your child has completed college. This is a day to celebrate and to appreciate how far your child has come. Getting here required a lot of hard work, time, and investment, and not just by your child, but by you as well. And here we are at one of life's milestones. And now, having completed their college education, you and your child will finally be reunited as they move back home. I'm both very happy and a bit jealous, I have to say. Having 4 teenagers at home, it feels a bit unimaginable to me from where I stand that I might one day be where you sit. It just feels impossible that they will all be ready to fend for themselves in the world without my help. Don't get me wrong, they're all good kids. It just seems like a long shot. My 8th grader recently asked me one morning if I'd be home after school to help him with a history project. And before I could even answer him, he asked me a follow-up question. He said, "Wait, do you know anything about the Constitution?" He was completely serious. He wasn't joking. And he wasn't trying to take me down a notch or bring a little dose of humility to my life. He just wanted to make sure I was the right man for the job. But seriously, as a parent myself, I know that you parents are also relieved that your child made it through college. That's right, graduates. Your parents are relieved you actually made it. Not because they didn't believe in you, although you may have given them moments of doubt here and again, but because your parents have often worried about you, perhaps especially over these last 4 years. They are biologically programmed to worry about you. When you become parents, someday you'll understand. Long before I became a parent, I imagined I'd have kids, and I imagined that when my kids grew up, they would do many great and spectacular things. But then I became a real parent. And as a real parent with real kids, I realized my previous hopes for my imagined kids had been all wrong. As a parent with real live kids, most of all, you just want them to be safe because you have these fears. Parents, you know what I'm talking about, and grandparents, you do too, because you had similar fears for your children. And those fears change over time as our kids grow older. When our children are very young, our biggest fear is that they would choke on the food we fed them. So as parents, we were always cutting up your food and yet still worrying about it. Then you got a little bit older and we worried you might get hit by a car because, class of 2013, as young kids, you had a dangerous tendency to not look both ways before you crossed the street. Then, as you got older still, we worried you would get hit on your bikes. And then you became teenagers and we worried you'd get into the wrong car with somebody who was drinking. I have a crazy, irrational worry that one of my kids might get arrested and be wrongfully accused of something. And how awful would that be, to be wrongfully accused of a crime? Obviously, this is a result of having represented a number of clients throughout my career who were wrongfully convicted. And it made me a little bit paranoid. These fears are misplaced for the most part. And all of this has made me realize that all I really want for my own kids, when you get right down to it, is not to get hit by a car and not to choke on their food. And maybe, to one day make it through college, this college even better. Once they graduated from college, I could rest knowing they'd become full-fledged adults and acquired the basic skills so they could navigate life on their own. And here you are. So parents, take a deep breath. You can sleep a little easier tonight. Your kid has made it all the way through and has accomplished something on which all future accomplishments depend. Your child graduated from Trinity College on this glorious day with their whole adult life now ahead of them. Savor this moment, parents. Burn it into your memory bank. And now turning to you, graduates. Congratulations to you too for making it this far. Burn today into your memory bank as well. Take a minute to hug your parents, supporters, whoever it is who got you here for cutting up your food and making sure you got across the street safely. Congratulations for what you have accomplished over these last 4 years. Hearing some of the stories today was stunning. You have grown a lot, learned a great deal. You've learned to be critical thinkers and effective writers. You've learned how to manage your time, lead your peers when asked to do so, and to work cooperatively with them more often than not. You've learned more than anything else how to keep learning. You have joined the ranks of the educated, and you can never go back. As you move on to the next chapter of your life, I want to use the balance of my remarks today to offer 3 specific thoughts. But let me say first, I do not stand here before you with any special wisdom or profound insights that will help you navigate life's difficulties. The truth is, you'll mostly just have to figure things out as you go along. Beware of anyone who tells you that life is simple or that there are shortcuts that really work. That said, as someone who once sat exactly where you're sitting today, I do have 3 observations that I invite you to consider. First, life is much shorter than you realize. Second, you need a plan, but you should be very flexible about deviating from your plan. And third, the most personally rewarding things you are likely to do in life will not be the things you do just for yourselves. Graduates, life is shorter than you can appreciate today. Acceleration is the change in velocity. Well, in fact, I'm here to tell you that life itself accelerates. That is to say, life increases in velocity as it moves along. What this means is the next few years of your life are going to go by faster than these last 4 have gone. The next few after that, even faster still. There's a mathematical reason for this universal perception. You see, each year of life moves by faster because each constitutes a smaller percentage of your whole life. Against the baseline of your whole life up to this point, every next year in percentage terms gets smaller and smaller. Think about it. High school made up 4/18 of your life, nearly a quarter of your whole life, right? But college took up only 4/22 of your life. The next 4 years after college will consume merely 4/26. I'm 46 years old. That means the next year of my life will constitute just 1/47 of my whole life, only about 2%. That means the next 4 years of my life will go by as fast to me as about 9 months did when I was 10 years old. So in other words, life accelerates. Yes, you do have your whole life in front of you, but I'm here to tell you that really isn't all that much. I honestly remember vividly the day I sat in your seat. It was 25 years ago. To me, it doesn't feel like yesterday exactly, but it does feel like maybe 10, maybe 12 years ago at the most. Time is precious, don't waste it. And this leads me to my second observation. It's important to have some plan for your life. You have graduated from this great institution. Now what? Specific goals, very general goals, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that you have some sense of direction, even if vague, even if that direction is to try a couple of different things before you know exactly where you're going. That's fine too. Trial and error can be a plan. Experimentation can be a plan. You don't have to know exactly where you're going now. In fact, it would be unrealistic to think you could know that. But here is my point. The very exercise of devising a provisional plan, even though you know that it is not how life is likely to turn out, will prove to be a valuable and revealing exercise. It will give you a sense of direction. Because if instead you simply sit back and wait for opportunity to knock at your door, you are likely to be disappointed. The truth is, opportunity doesn't usually come knocking. You have to go to opportunity's house and knock on its door. And to be honest with you, sometimes when it sees you coming, opportunity hides in its basement. But keep knocking, because sooner or later, opportunity will open the door and hear you out, and it will give you a chance. But that can only happen if you know what you might want, if you have some kind of plan. At the same time, as I say, feel free to deviate aggressively from your plan. You need to have some playbook, but honestly, most of the plays you make in life, and almost all of your big plays will be audibles. Decisions you make given the situation you find yourself in. Smart decisions you are able to make because you have a general sense of the field, which empowers you to adjust to what life is showing you in the moment. Professor Kirkpatrick's reading of my citation might have made it sound like I had a very specific plan since I left here and stuck to it. Not true. I had an outline, but I had to audible frequently. For example, my very first job after law school was as a legal aid lawyer. He told you that, but he didn't tell you this part. 3.5 years into that job, my union voted to strike. After 4 days on the picket line, the mayor of New York City decided to cancel the contract with the Legal Aid Society, effectively firing all of us. Being fired 3.5 years after law school was not in my plan, but there I was, unemployed. I took the first job I could get and moved into a law school teaching fellowship, which was the start of a very happy 17-year career in legal academia, starting at Yale, but mostly at the University of Michigan, which in turn landed me on the Michigan Supreme Court, which in turn got me invited to be your speaker today. See? Getting fired got me this gig. Audibles. I had a general sense of my interests and a general plan, but I could never have predicted the specifics, and I'm really glad I was in a position to adapt to them. So make failure part of your plan. Failure is how we learn. After all, if you're satisfying all of the goals you ever set for yourself, you'll know one thing for sure: you're not aiming high enough. If you find that all of your ideas prove to be really good ideas, then you'll know you're not being creative enough. If you're meeting all of your deadlines, you'll know your deadlines are not ambitious enough. The only way to know whether you're trying hard enough is to fail once in a while, so embrace failure. You can quote me on this: failure will make you more successful. Finally, and most importantly, wherever life takes you, wherever life puts you, you are very likely to find the most satisfaction from doing not just for yourself, but for others too. Graduates, you are inheriting a great country, the best country in the world. And this country was not built by accident, but by sacrifice, from generations that understood the importance of contributing to something larger than themselves. The challenges at hand change from generation to generation, but what must not change is our instinct to face them. Your generation will have to grapple with intimidating problems, the challenges brought by global weather changes, the rise of new economic powers, and the realignment of political power around the globe. I could go on, obviously, with many examples. But what this means is this: you will have many opportunities to succeed, for the world before you is not only smaller, but more accessible to your generation than ever in history. Changes in technology since you were born have brought the globe to your computer screen. Your access to information is unlimited, and the technological tools at your disposal are unimaginable. Think about it. Today, surgery is often performed using robots. War can be conducted remotely. An individual's propensity for disease can be predicted years in advance. And you, the tweeting, texting, cloud generation, you feel right at home with all of it. It is second nature to you. What this means is that your efforts, the efforts of just one of you, can reach so far. New tools make you powerful like no generation before you. Use that power. Serve your country in uniform. Participate actively in our political system. Commit to a social cause to make the country a better place. Develop a new drug. Create a new product to take to market to grow your community's economy. Volunteer at church. Help out your family member, friend, or neighbor when you see the chance. It doesn't matter which of these. The point is that these things not only make your community better and your country stronger, but that you yourself will be more satisfied and less restless whenever you work to improve the lives of those around you. Our connectedness is undeniable. You already have a sense of your responsibility for some specific others, your parents, your friends, your siblings, your neighbors, before long your own children. But the truth is, you probably also already know that you are also responsible for the parents and the children of complete strangers. That realization can be paralyzing and can stop you in your tracks. The only antidote I know for it is working for a greater good. I represented well over 1,000 clients during my career as a lawyer in a variety of contexts. The single thing they had in common was that none of them ever paid me or could have paid me. Each one, and their parents and their children, were unable to navigate a legal system where access isn't always easy for everyone. I am confident that I was able to serve my clients well and at the same time improve access to justice for all. But I'm even more confident that the satisfaction of serving them and the legal system was acutely personal. Now, to be clear, working in law is not the only way to contribute to the greater good, far from it. There are many, many other ways as well. And you obviously don't need to change the whole world, be realistic. But the point is this: I've never met anyone who helped their neighbor and regretted it. I've never known anyone to try and make their community just a little bit stronger and thought they had wasted their time. I'm not talking about personal sacrifice here. I'm talking instead about the personal reward that comes with engaging those around you, with connecting with your fellow citizens to make the world a better place. The awesome responsibility of our interconnectedness is best answered by service. While I began my remarks by dismissing some of the phrases typically offered at graduation ceremonies, I hope I have now made clear that some of those cliches are in fact true. You really will face untold challenges, and the future truly is in your hands. It's in the hands of every new generation by definition. And if you work hard and persistently, there really is no limit to what you can do in this country of ours. You have all been lucky in life's lottery, blessed with talent and privilege, and now armed with the skills to make the most of these. But to capitalize on the opportunities that you will have, you need to know that life moves much faster than you realize, that you'll be better off with some kind of evolving game plan, and that there is nothing more personally enriching than making a contribution to the lives of those around you. So don't waste valuable time. Set your course, but don't be afraid to call an audible, and find ways to use the values your parents have taught you and the skills the Trinity faculty have taught you to work for some greater good. Thank you, and God bless the Trinity College class of 2013.
Thank you, Bridget. You made us all proud.